Most of the French battle fleet is concentrated in our North African ports. The best ships are in Mer El Kebir, the military port of Oran. Due to the shallowness of the waters, our large ships have had to moor facing the mountain with their backs to the breakwater, a position which makes it hard to weigh anchor quickly. In the case of an artillery duel, the rock of the fort does not provide a defense from fire coming in from the open sea, while preventing the ships from firing. This is how our fleet is placed on the morning of the 3rd of July, after the first measures of disarmament provided for by the conditions of the armistice. The English fleet then arrives, intending to make Admiral Jean Soult submit to conditions which are unacceptable to our honor. Mer El Kebir, the morning of the 3rd of July. From left to right, the Dunkirk, the Provence, the Strasbourg, the Brittany, and the aircraft carrier Commodore Test. The guns are unloaded, the lights are low. The armistice was signed 10 days ago. On the deck of the Dunkirk, Admiral Jean Soult greets Captain Dufay, who is bringing him an important message from Somerville, the English admiral. The order to recall the landing party is already being given. This is an ultimatum that French honor cannot tolerate. A boat docks alongside the magnificent Dunkirk. Captain Holland, the negotiator for the Royal Navy, comes up the gangway. The ship's crew listens attentively to the opening words of this last interview. The French naval ratings wait calmly. Even before the negotiator leaves the ship, Admiral Somerville makes his threat clear with a historic telegram. The die is cast. The ships must try to leave the harbour before the French fleet is destroyed at anchor. The decks are cleared for action. The gunners head for the turrets. A first salvo falls outside the breakwater. The hatch covers are closed. The bombing starts. It is to last for 14 minutes. A 380mm salvo falls outside the breakwater. Gunners on the hood adjust their range. Shrapnel strafes the waters in the port. In the foreground is the Strasbourg. A salvo hits the Brittany. The magazines in the rear gun turret explode and the battleship goes up in flames. In the foreground, Strasbourg has broken its mooring ropes and, under fire from the English squadron, weighs anchor in spite of the mines laid by the British aircraft from early morning. The Brittany is no more than an inferno. It is going to capsize. The Provence counterattacks with all its firepower, not hesitating to fire over the Dunkirk, which is moored between it and its adversary. The Strasbourg, having got out of a tight corner, heads for the open sea, preceded by the destroyers. It fires. The Provence, hit in turn, is destined to run aground. The Strasbourg sets sail for Toulon, giving its attacker as good as it gets. The bombing has ceased. The flagship Dunkirk has run aground and sailors on board are fighting the fire. The Provence has run aground as well. The Brittany has capsized. Only its keel can be seen emerging above the waves. The motorboats and dinghies fish the survivors from the oil-laden waters. With admirable naval solidarity and considerate gestures, the sailors land their wounded and their dead. Since the firing has stopped, the civilians are leaving their shelters, having as yet understood nothing about the drama that has unfolded. Cars are hastily requisitioned to evacuate the dead and wounded. Here is the mark left by the attack, a breach in the jetty. This is what is left of the port and lighthouse of Mer El Kebir after the bombing by the British seamen. Near the Mogador, there is one of our best torpedo boats, the stern of which has been crushed by English shells. A fireboat drenches the debris. On the rear deck of the Provence, teams of men methodically fight the fire that is ravaging the magazines. Here is the Dunkirk, the flagship that had weighed anchor, but it has been hit several times and has finally run aground at the bridge by the harbour. A shell pierced through the deck but did not explode. After the alert, the exhausted rescuers sleep. Having served with honour and loyalty throughout the entire war, the sailors are finally killed by English shells. In the hospitals, the survivors are comforted by brotherly visits from their comrades. A few days later, the Navy takes its dead to the burial grounds. The long funeral cortege preceded by the clergy reaches the cemetery of Mer El Kebir. The men, whether admirals, officers or sailors, simply weep for their friends. "We will remember," says Admiral Jean Soule in front of the newly dug graves. The commander finds words to console the mothers. The sailors search among the coffins for their best comrade in arms. Attention! Present arms. It is the salute to the dead.